That's right. In fact, there are a lot of numbers have been thrown at us lately, but there are two numbers that do give a good barometer as to how we're doing in this crisis. One is the number of people who are going into the hospital, and the other is the number of people who will never make it out. Tonight in New York, despair and hope live side by side. Despair after a record number of people died, and hope because the number of patients admitted to hospitals is slightly lower than the day before. The actual numbers tell the rest of the story. Today in New York, 200 new patients arrived, while on the same day, 800 people died. The virus is still winning.
It was a silent explosion that just ripples through society with the same randomness, the same evil that we saw on 9/11.
But the rising number of dead involves infections that happened weeks ago. The lower number of admissions reflects more recent infections. The arc of this deadly virus is moving in the right direction.
That means that what we are doing is working, and therefore we need to continue to do it. I know I sound like a broken record. That's good. I want to sound like a broken record. Let's just keep doing it.
But the outlook for the future doesn't dull the pain from today, which is predicted to be the peak for single-day deaths in Detroit as well. And in another chilling contrast, the prediction for the deadliest day in America is Easter Sunday.
They're going down the tubes, rapidly going down the tubes.
But a look at the national numbers shows the bigger picture. The models on April 2nd predicted more than 93,000 people would die by the end of August. On April 5th, nearly 82,000. And 2 days later, the projected number of deaths was down to 60,000.
The losses, as grievous as they are, that we are seeing today, are a reflection of people that contracted the coronavirus in many cases before strong mitigation steps were taken, before the guidelines for America fully took hold. The cases, however, and the new cases and the hospitalizations are in fact a reflection of the results of what the American people are doing.
And every day we find what more the American people are not doing, and that's working. Today, the Labor Department reported another 6.6 million people filed for unemployment last week, bringing the total to more than 16 million over the past 3 weeks. California lost more than 925,000 of those jobs, including Walter Almendarez's.
I don't have the money for the rent.
Walter is a laid-off hotel bellman in Van Nuys. He says he waited outside a food bank in a line of more than 2,000 cars. He is the sole provider for a family of 5.
I don't have a job. I have a 7-month daughter. We don't have a health insurance. We don't have nothing.
And he is not alone. To put this in perspective, with 16.8 million jobs lost in 3 weeks, that's roughly 11% of the U.S. workforce, and greater than all the jobs added in the past 6 years.
Maybe most importantly, we don't know which of these people will permanently be unemployed.
Today, U.S. Labor Secretary Eugene Scalia said unemployed workers can expect an extra $600 a week over and above their unemployment benefit.
These payments are intended to make those workers whole as near we can. This temporary benefit is available not just to employees, but also to the self-employed and gig economy workers. How long it takes will vary by states. Some states' systems will take longer.
But how long is longer? Not soon enough for Walter Almendarez, who was able to get 30 pounds of free food to feed his hungry and anxious family. So, of course, the question, how long will it take to get those benefits? Boy, that's a complicated question. We are hearing about debit cards that can be used that can help facilitate direct deposits. Of course, there's the old check in the mail. But when you add the fact that so many people are applying at the same time, as well as people who've never been in the system before, as we heard the Labor Secretary say, gig workers, independent workers, the honest truth to that answer is that nobody really knows. It's a case-by-case basis. You have to hope for the best. Let's go back to you.